I suppose I should start off by telling you a bit about myself. I am 19 years old and I live in Pennsylvania, and I guess I've always been a creative person. When I was little, my parents would always remark about the valid imagination I had. For the most part, I had a normal childhood. I liked drawing and writing, I hated math, and I had trouble making friends. So I played with my imaginary friends. We would play games out in the woods, and I would always like playing with those games because I knew I could trust them and control them. But I knew that they would never hurt me. Not like the other beings that I fought up in my head, or at least I thought that they were just in my head. I used to have a lot of trouble sleeping at night, and I would always get out of bed and get snacks or watch TV or play with one of my cats and my family would rescue. You see, my mom is a veterinarian, so she would take in stray cats, nurse them back to health, and then adopt them out. It drove my parents nuts for me to stay up late, but everything was fine until one day when I was about 9 or so. I was about up late at night as per usual. When I was playing downstairs, I was playing a recent rescue animal who we called Jacob. What, were you expecting Fluffy? For whatever reason, I was drawn onto the large glass doors leading to the backyard. Normally I would never go outside at night and the curtains covering them were always shut. However, this night, I felt the urge to go outside. I opened the windows and almost expecting to see someone or something to be there, staring in, but there was nothing there. I started to feel a bit braver, so I opened the door and stepped outside, Jacob in tow. This is where things got bad. So, see, behind my house was a large field, past the forest, and none of it was visible. We live in the middle of nowhere, so there were no street lights. Not only an empty space, but for some reason this empty space was calling to me. Somehow I walked into the abyss, and I felt the breeze against my face, which smelled like honeysuckle and sage from my mom's garden. I kept walking until out of the darkness, until I saw something walk towards me. It was growing pale white. My first thought was a ghost of some sort, but this was different, more physical. But it had vaguely humanoid shape, but the eyes were there, but they were only black orbs. This was a pure form, almost like most absorbing in the darkness. I wasn't even sure if it was getting closer or bigger. I finally broke out of my trance and went back inside, slammed the door behind me, and I took a breath. And then I was drawn to look back outside. It was there, right there, staring in. I shut the curtains and ran back to my room screaming. My parents woke up and found me in my room. They yelled at me for being up so late and about how my dad has to be up early tomorrow. I, however, was just glad to be alive and safe. Jacob was gone forever, consumed by that thing. When I told my mom the next morning, she said I was probably tired and imagining it. That Jacob ran away and that he was let out and we'd see him again. When we didn't, she tried telling me what she must have found home. I knew she was lying. For a while after that, but since then, I have always made sure that all the curtains are closed after sunset. I had to never go outside at dark again. I went away for college a year ago and coming back home for vacations. A few nights ago, while I was home for Christmas break, I decided to go outside late one night for a smoke, momentarily forgetting my childhood experience. The air was freezing cold, but the cigarette momentarily warmed me, as it formed only the light of the source of the darkness. And soon it appeared again. I ran back inside just like before. Since then I kept having nightmares of what I would look out the window to see. Its black, shadowy eyes, all-consuming body. I'm starting to lose the ability to tell my dreams from reality. I just wanted to know if I really saw that thing, if it was haunting me, or if it's marked me in some way. My friends would think I'm crazy, but do you think I'm crazy? And that, my little pretties, was I Am Crazy, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on the story? Pretty good pasta, actually. Now, I think I remember, well, this story was written, I think, in 2013 or 2014. It's a pretty good, interesting creepypasta. Now, this is basically about somebody seeing something outside and they think they're crazy because of what they saw. Now, I did hear this story from Truly Haunted back, I think, when I started getting into creepypastas, along with the creepy kid pasta, explicit censor, the creepypasta reader. I've actually heard a couple narrations of this story, and this was actually quite an interesting story. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this story really had me on edge of how really messed up and creepy this is. It did have a good explanation as to why this story actually had a pretty good concept. Like, basically a kid, basically the protagonist, was up late at night and saw something really freaky, and, she or he happened to see it at night, and then he or she happens to see it, years later, which is definitely something, because, you know, I've seen like a lot of weird and messed up things, and you never know what you could find. You could really find a lot of weird and messed up stuff at night, so there's definitely that. But with that being said, I actually find this story to be rather enjoyable. I would have to say it's not really that scary. Well, I mean, it does. Well, it seems scary to some people. But to me personally, I did not find this to be scary very much. With the shadowy figure, appearing at all. Like, I get that maybe it could be unnerving for me, but I wasn't really scared or anything of that thing. That's really surprising what I think. I think this story wasn't really as scary as I was expecting it to be. But it's a great creepypasta with all of its own self. Like, I mean, it's unnerving, yes. But I would have to say, if anyone was a kid were to see something like that, they would probably be traumatized nonetheless. Like, I know I haven't read this story in a while. But like when I was just getting into creepypastas, I think I read it once and it looked to be like a pretty good story. And now I'm looking at this now, I still find this one to be quite enjoyable. I really do like how the pasta went out. I do like the concept as well as the good grammar, the sentence structuring, the storyline of how it all went out. Although it's a short story, but I still find this one to be, quite enjoyable. And no, to be honest, in my opinion, I did not find this one to be too scary. Well, unnerving at, a certain part. But for some reason, I didn't actually find this one to be scary. So, maybe you guys might have found it scary for you guys, but to me personally, I did not find this story to be, scary. Although this does that mean that the story failed? No, it did not fail miserably. It did not. Unlike most creepypastas do, like mostly stories of cliched madness and all that, but those are those stories. This story, it didn't scare me, but I would have to say it did unnerve me a bit. But other than that, the story didn't really, scare me a lot, but it did have a really good concept for it, and it's unnerving, yes. I'd really have to say, to the author of the story, you did a great job with this story. I really do like the concept. You did amazing. Really excellent job with this. Now, the only thing I would have to say is that I can't really seem to find the original author for the story. So until I can find out who the original author of the story is, I am going to leave this as anonymous for now. But if for some reason, if someone happens to find out who the author of the story is, or happens to be the author, feel free to let me know in the comments below or something, because I will be sure to give the author proper credit for that. But because I have to say, it's a really awesome story. Like, I've seen a couple narrations of this story, and this story was actually quite entertaining. It's still a fun story, not gonna lie. Although I would have to say, what didn't scare me, but I really wish it was, more entertaining, so to speak. Like, I'm not trying to say, that just because I can or anything, but yeah. That is definitely something I want to, sit here and, get at. But yeah, I can't really say anything that I didn't like about this story, and I can't say anything else of what I liked about the story because I can't seem to point my finger on it. But I would have to say, it's a good story. Not gonna lie, a pretty fun story, really good, well made. Really found this one to be enjoyable. So, with that being the case, that being said, I'm gonna sit here and say this. This is just my opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is just simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of the story would have to be a 9 out of 10. Only a 9 out of 10 because the story didn't scare me at all. I still found this story to be enjoyable, but the story of its own self did not even scare me, not even one bit. And that's just that. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but I would suggest maybe something a little bit more freaky in the story, but that's just here or there. Although it's still a good story, I'm not gonna lie, it's still a good one. So, I guess with that being the case, and with that being said, what did you all think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you all not? Also, what you have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out.